Hello there, it's Mr Pelargonium and I'm back with another one of my video blogs for the Pelargonium and Geranium Society. Good to see you again. We're into September now. I'm filming this on the 7th of September. And certainly in the UK the days are really shortening now. We reach the equinox, in about 7th, just under 2 weeks' time. We reach the equinox, and after that period, certainly in the UK, being in the northern hemisphere, we reach a point where the days actually get shorter than the nights. So times are really changing here, and it's surprising how quick it does move on. The night temperatures have also really started to drop off a bit as well. We're down into single figures at night. Certainly no need for heating yet, but it's certainly a bit of a change of the seasons going on here in the UK at the moment. Now, one thing that I am doing now is cutting back some of my larger plants, what I call my own personal display plants, and I'll cut back one of those today. Plants such as this large sort of Regal plant here. I cut my sort of what I call my own personal display plants back really hard. They'll be cut back really tight, mainly to get rid of any pest and disease that may be on the leaf. A little bit of white flies crept in the greenhouse over the past few weeks, and that gets rid of all that. And I will strip off a lot of the leaves as well. Only keep any remaining leaves on that haven't got any sort of white fly or any pest or disease or anything like that. So I'll be doing that today. I'll just run through that with you. I have actually been stopping my exhibition regals as well. These are all still in slightly smaller pots than their final pot, and I will move on over the next month to pot these up into their final 6-inch exhibition pot. Now I have been stopping these, and this is just tip stopping, because as I've said, I've had a few issues, particularly with regals, in getting plants ready in display and in good bloom mode for the June shows. So what I'm going to try this year, I've given these a pinch stop now, so they're beginning to break through. In fact, they're already breaking through. I've done these over the last week or so. And I'm going to go for stopping my plants in around about late November. That's what I'm going to try and do. These will grow. Regals like the cooler conditions, and they will grow relatively fast during the autumn period. So these display ones I've stopped. I will wait a few weeks now for them to begin to break from their little tip stops, and then I will pot them into their final show pot, which in the case of regals is a 6-inch pot. It can be a bit smaller if you wish it to be, but I like to grow my regals. Majority of exhibition growers would grow their regals in the full 6-inch pot, or 150 centimetres for those that like to carry on with the modern metric sizing regime. So these will be potted on in about the next month, and they'll then go through the winter, and I will attempt to see how it goes for me to stop these really early, like in about late November, early December. I am actually away on holiday for a lot of December anyway, so I won't be done much in December, but certainly the latter part of November. So they got getting on for 3 months to grow on new growth. Now, smaller ones, such as this one's still not grown back massively, this Regal. So I won't bother giving that a pinch stop. I will let that grow on, and then again I will attack it in late November to give it a bit of a stop for the shows. But we'll just see how it goes. Now for exhibition purposes, zonal plants, all I do is tend to just de-leaf them a bit. Again, it's keeping the pest and disease down and things like that to get on leaves, and opening the plant up so you don't get things like botrytis, which is a real scourge of zonal types during the winter, during the very damp conditions that we get, particularly here in the UK. I've seen a lot of bloom coming actually on a lot of my plants over the past few weeks. So I will certainly disc bud them and I'll strip a number of the leaves off, and again these will be potted on into their final 6-inch pot for the shows next year. So, but I won't do, I very seldom do a tip stop for zonals, because I tend to like to give mine a good hard stop in the spring, in the early spring, late winter, when I give them their stop for the shows. So I don't do a great deal other than disbud and de-leaf them a bit for the winter. So that's all I really do for my zonal plants. These youngsters here will all be potted up a bit over the coming couple of months, so gradually all of the room will be taken up with younger plants growing on, which is the natural progression of growing plants, both for exhibition and for your own purposes in displays, your own personal displays next summer. But realistically, what I want to do is create a bit more room. And the only way to do this is to get these sort of what I call my own personal plants, my own personal display plants, cut right back so that we've got plenty of room in the glass house. Now, I know a number of people would say, well, I've got quite a bit of room anyway, but it's amazing once you get all these small plants potted up and you get all your exhibition plants into their final 6-inch pot, the room soon does take up. Once you come to the late winter, early spring, your greenhouse needs to be at least a third empty to enable the plants to have plenty of room to grow on. So that's more or less what at the stage that I'm at this stage in September. So what I'm going to do now, the key things, of course, same old thing, whenever you're cutting a plant back, let it dry out. And these probably haven't been watered in a week. A big plant with a lot of leaf on, it needs quite a bit of water and feed to grow on. But I will now, this has been allowed to dry out, and I will now cut this back really hard. And I'll just show you what I'll do. I'll just bring the camera forward a bit, and you'll see me cut it back to what I actually do. And I'll speed this process up through so that you can see it happening. Now, as ever, a very good clean knife. So always remember to clean your knives before cutting. Okay, so there we are. I mean, that's been more or less done. I've got rid of a lot of the older leaves on it. There's still perhaps one there that I will take out. The thing now that I'm just checking is that there is no sign of any eggs or whitefly in any of the remaining leaves. You need to leave a few leaves on just to keep it alive and going through the winter. But there is nothing there. These leaves are all quite clean. I'll just continue to take a few more off. Again, some of the older ones. And there's nothing left. That's all very clean. Now, the thing that I will do with that now is let it heal. That'll take 2 or 3 days in the sort of dryish weather to heal. And then what I will do, I will just water it very, very lightly in a little saucer with a good strength of feed, because I'm not potting this on. This is not going to be potted. It's not going to be moved out of there now. I may move it next spring when it begins to grow a bit, but that is purely going to be left. If I look down on it, it's nice and round, looking down from the top. And that's a nice square cut. It's nicely rounded. I can see right down through the plant there's a lot of breaks. Now the thing with slightly older regals is that they do have slightly hard wood, so you really do need a good knife to be able to cut through it. That's the sort of thing that you want to be doing, particularly if you want to open it up to get a good bit of air through it, so the air can get round it during the winter, so you don't get a lot of botrytis and things like that. And that should get through the winter without any problem whatsoever. So there we are, that's cutting back that Regal. Now we've got these standards. Our standards here are sort of growing away. They're you know, they're putting on a bit of growth. I'm not again going to do anything with these at all at this stage. They're just going to be left to grow. They're growing away much as, you know, they would at this time of year. So nothing more to report on those at this stage. Now the one thing that I still have got on my glasshouse is my glasshouse shading. Now I will probably think about taking that off next week. The weather is certainly in the UK becoming a bit more changeable now. So I will probably get the shading off. I know a lot of growers have got their shading off already once we get into September, but I'm directly self-facing and I get sun literally from sunrise to sunset. So one of the problems that you can get if you do have quite comprehensive shading like I do, because of my self-facing aspect, is that you need to be very careful. If you have a sunny day, it will probably be a little bit of a shock to the plants, and you can sometimes, when you first take your shading off, get a little bit of wilting of your plants because they're not really used to that strong sun. So you do need to be a little bit careful. So I'll keep an eye out. I'll probably do it on a cloudy day so they don't get too much of a shock to their system. It's somewhere in the next week or so, so that's when I'll do it. But almost certainly the next time I do a video, the shading will be off. Right, now one plant that has grown back very strongly is this Regal, the Regal that I cut back in the summer. This is actually just beginning to bud up, but I'm wondering whether I am actually going to see that much bloom on it, because the bloom is only just beginning to break. And I think by the time it blooms, it'll be ready to be cut back again. But it just shows you with a little bit of care and attention, you can really cut back. The pelargoniums can withstand abuse. And this has grown back very strongly. It's doing very well. Need to keep it fed because I don't repot it very often. I think it's been in that pot now for something like 2 years. But you need to keep them well fed. But that's, you know, it's grown back very well and very strongly, and that'll make again a nice little nice plant to fill a corner of a glass house next year. One that has come through, we were talking about uniques the other week. This is violet unique, just started flowering again. Very attractive little bloom, very vibrant, looking very nice there in the sort of autumn sunshine. You often find when the sun does get a little weaker now at this time of year, if you have got blooming plants, the colours can look more vibrant than they do in the summer. This is Lara Largo, a zone Arctic variety, but all these colours now are really starting to stand out as the sun strength gets that much weaker. It really does pick out the colours. Looking very good, but a lot of these blooms will have to be cut off in the next few weeks as I pot the plants up ready for exhibition next year. Okay, so that's just about it from me today. Remember, if you've got any questions you want to ask me, just note them in the feedback area below and I'll get back to you. In the meantime, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I'm hopefully building up a really good audience base, as everybody keeps telling me. So don't forget to press the subscribe button, or look at the website for the Pelargonium Geranium Society, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram as Mr Pelargonium and do a search on that. And I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now.